I got to talk to the CEO of Epic Games, Tim Sweeney, for 1 hour about the future of Fortnite and their recent release of UEFN, alongside Sax Pearson, who leads the Fortnite ecosystem at Epic Games. They reveal new information never shared before, and stick around to the end to see me ask a question no one was expecting.
So yesterday was the launch of UEFN. How are we feeling?
Pretty awesome. Yeah, like nothing fell over.
It worked.
It worked.
But
I
yeah.
think the criteria is, yes, first people have to be able to download it and run it, and so far so good. No, we feel really good.
Yeah, and everybody's been working on this thing for a super long time. We just saw our first preview version of it from the development team right before the holiday in 2019, and so we're really happy that we're finally able to launch it.
We should be said we thought we launched in December. We didn't. Then we thought we launched in January. Then we didn't. And March seemed like the lucky month where everything came together. It's been a really long push to get it out and get it in people's hands, but we're very happy with it.
I remember the first look that we had publicly, which was back in December 2020. So it's been we're closing in on 3 years since we first saw it. So I've been looking forward to it for a very long time. Lachlan, Allier, you guys both have your own creative teams. You know, this is a huge pivotal moment. You guys want to comment on the launch itself?
I think it's been really exciting just to see the world take it all in, and the visual jump from the cartoony sort of style that we're used to seeing in BR, and then jumping to the incredibly beautiful looking worlds that can be made with the power of UEFN, and seeing the world take that in for the first time. We got a little bit of a behind the scenes access with some alpha access through our team, so we've seen a little bit before some other people, but yeah, I think the internet went crazy. I've seen a lot of viral tweets, viral videos, and I've been hunting down a lot of the maps that people have been making in the last 24 hours just to see what they can do in this short period of time. And the thing that I keep saying, and I hear the other guys keep saying, is, give it a few months, give it even a year, 5 years, the things that people will be making is just going to be incredible. So I'm so excited.
Yeah, similar thoughts to Ali. Changes the whole game. The tech demos, playing those yesterday, getting hands on, really awesome stuff. And yeah, looking forward to it, breaking it down. I might just jump in to kind of the first question, if that's okay with you guys. Just in relation to, obviously, the creator economy, switching to the engagement payout, and definitely, I think everybody here prefers that kind of system and where that's going, instead of pressing a button on a map and everything that went there intrusive to gameplay. Just wanted to hear Epic's thoughts on kind of the future of, we have V-Bucks, this premium currency in game. Do you think there'll ever be a point where creators can create experiences and, have them be premium experiences where you have to pay V-Bucks to, play these maps, similar to maybe a Minecraft store, or maybe even potentially purchasing things in the experience themselves, similar to I say Roblox?
You want to go? You want me?
Oh, yeah, why don't you?
We don't think that is in the immediate future, or we know it's not in the immediate future. There's no qualifying word here. We know it's not in the immediate future, and a big part of that is it is not what's needed, and it's not what players want right now. We think the real power of this ecosystem comes from accurately rewarding engagement generated in the ecosystem, and SAC just didn't do that. SAC was like you said, an intrusion, and it was a sort of that dark lobby that everybody got locked in, so they can click on the button before they got unleashed into the game.
You've seen them.
Yeah. I think we've seen it all.
Yeah.
I think it's an incentive that doesn't align with what players would want. That's not what players want. The second part is, and everybody should have seen that, all the people that were participating in SAC and are eligible for the new engagement rewards received an email about this is what's happening to the system, and we believe that this is going to be a lot fairer to creators. The economy can carry real investment into real creator teams, making real islands for real people where everybody can just play, and the only measure of success is, do people like playing your island? We really like the purity of that right now. We think the next level of growth will come from not being the place where you put in a pay gate, and not being the place where you have to design a cunning monetization loop. Really, all you have to do is just make a good island. If people come up, they play your island, you get a fair share of the economy. Right? I think it's worth that. The purity of that is, I think, is what will set the Fortnite ecosystem apart. And I think it'll bring in the best creators that bet on them making good islands, not bet on them being better at designing loot boxes, or like, I don't know, golden swords that win in competitions or whatever. Like we've done a lot to stay away from being the pay to win ecosystem, or being the you need an outfit to get through a door ecosystem. It's just not in player interests, like, to do that. We want to prove that that's how we grow into the next stage, and we have every indication that's how it's going to happen.
Yeah, no, that's a great answer.
So there's a couple of things that lets us like have confidence in this. One is 40% of playtime with in-game tools and creative goes to creative islands. That's pretty nuts. Like, the in-game tools are relatively simple. Like, you can call it like a remix or a mod of Fortnite or whatever, like what you could achieve. But still 40% of time was spent there. And when people spent that 40% of time, they generally exhibited the same behavior in terms of purchasing. Like, there's no difference if you play BR or you played a creative island. You're still just as likely to go to the store and purchase an outfit or purchase a backbling or whatever it is you're purchasing. So from our perspective, it's like, the economy needs to reflect that behavior. The players don't care. Entertainment is entertainment. They just want like maximum entertainment per minute. And we are going to make an economy and an ecosystem that just rewards that plain behavior. That you go somewhere with your friends, you have fun. If you feel like it, you will purchase. That's just what happens.
I love the explanation.
I think that's a really good approach, and I'm going to piggyback off of what Lachlan said there and what you guys are saying. And it very much seems like you guys are obviously investing in creators, almost leading a lot of the playtime in Fortnite, and the potential for these creative experiences to have higher player time than Battle Royale. And I know we've seen a lot of people, there's a lot of hype at the moment around the original Fortnite maps and the ability to potentially rebuild those, and just those possibilities are incredible. One of the things that's obviously limiting at the moment is the memory factor and how much content you can currently put in a map. And I just wanted to know where your thoughts were on how big maps can get, what those memory limits could turn into, because it feels like as soon as that starts to get lifted, or at least rise a little bit, then these maps truly can reach another level, which is really, really exciting.
You know, the download size limit, we could make that number whatever we want, but the problem is, the larger the number, the more likely people are to give up on the loading and abort out of it, and perhaps even give up on UEFN islands entirely if they think that you're just going to end up sitting there with their squad waiting around for 10 minutes for something to install. That'll work against the acceptance of the whole thing. It's just like a web page. How many seconds are you willing to wait for a web page to load before
Not long, probably.
go somewhere else, right? Yeah, it's the same thing.
Yeah,
and a lot of these trade-offs are just kind of practical. It's not like Epic trying to be miserly about the storage size. It's really just trying to make sure that we have load times that players can count on being reasonable.
Yeah, like it's about what type of ecosystem do we want? Like, do we want an ecosystem where you heavily research what you want to play next? You really make a plan for the night. Everybody downloads it ahead of time, and then you go and play a UEFN island. That doesn't seem like the right feeling, like, for what it is that really has made creative so successful. Like, creative successful is keeping the squad together and moving between all these different experiences. And there's going to be a limit no matter what. And somebody's going to bump against that limit no matter what. We chose to set a goal. It should take less than a minute to get into the game from you click the button. And your squad should be able to feel that it's not an investment to go into a map. It's like something you can just sample, and if it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out. It doesn't really matter. You go to the next thing. But it can't be we just wasted the night getting to something
just
that
downloading.
Yeah, you want people to take a chance, and I think we've set it appropriately, like, to try to do that. But we had a lot of conversations about like what's the right number. Right now it's set at 400 megs for the high end experiences, like for like a Xbox Series X and PS5 and high end PC. that translates to about 200 megs for Switch or something like that. And that we might move that line a little bit in the future, but it'll be with this in mind, that we want people to be able to sample experiences until we get to a point where creators are proving to us that we are the limit now, and we really need to reevaluate.
And we can improve the tech in the future.
Yeah.
Right now, you
We
have to
don't stream.
download.
Yeah.
You have to download absolutely everything in the island to get to it. Maybe we could just download a low-res version of everything, and then maybe you get much more quickly, but then it's a little bit blurry as the remainder of the thing downloads, and then the detail improves over time. They're technical solutions.
Yeah.
That makes sense. No, it's exciting knowing that you guys are always forward thinking about that, and I'm excited to see where maps get pushed with this memory limit. So yeah, it's really cool.
It's a bit like, we don't do we know what's going to happen when we attach UE straight onto Fortnite and allow you to push one-click publish straight into Fortnite with anything Unreal Engine can do? No, we don't. So there's also an element of we have to kind of figure out how this ecosystem balances out. Like yesterday, I don't remember the number, but there were about 1,000 new projects made a minute.
Wow.
In UEFN,
Wow.
as we after the keynote yesterday morning, and everybody's watching the revision code control system as it's just exploding, but it held up. So load testing was good. You don't really know how this is gonna go. We have a moderation pipeline, but people threw, I don't remember the number, about 1 million custom assets added yesterday, in short succession after we finished the keynote. That moderation team is sitting there and waiting for for all these things to come flowing through, because we still have a promise to players that this is a safe ecosystem that adheres to the community values that we've set out, and we're doing our very best to figure out how do we strike a balance between, you can make anything you want, but it still has to fit inside Fortnite in a way that players will accept.
So my question is kind of sort of tied in with the limitations, but I saw an interesting timeline that you guys had on your Verse live stream, where you showed that Verse is looking to support larger scale battle royales at the end of 2023, and then eventually seamless kind of islands that are kind of similar to, let's say, a Minecraft server, or a living server where people they log in, they progress with their character, they log out. Kind of having that multiplayer MMO experience. Is that still something that you guys are striving towards to allow to happen, even though that doesn't necessarily fit the current theme of the Fortnite Islands?
Yeah, absolutely. The whole point of this exercise is to go way beyond what Epic could possibly build with Battle Royale. We want creators to go out and fill out all the major genres in gaming here, and invent new ones too. And a lot of these really interesting types of games are persistent worlds of different sorts, or they at least have persistent inventory and other systems like that. So there's a lot of development work to do. Some on the Unreal Editor side, enabling more of the features that we've built for AAA games to work within UEFN content. There's a lot of work on the programming side, filling out the APIs, the programming interfaces that are used in Verse to talk to the different systems in Fortnite and the Unreal Engine. There's just a lot of work to do to build it out at scale in a way that's really easy for everybody to use. And so, over the next year, there's going to be a lot of new things coming online, and every month or two, there will be new genres of games that become possible for the first time, and that'll be really exciting. And wish we could build it faster. But the level of quality we're trying to achieve with these designs, we're trying to build things, lasting systems that don't break every time we release a new version. And that imposes quite a lot of rigor on the work that we do, more so than in the past.
Exciting to know that we can expect I guess updates every couple months or so to kind of make more things possible.
I think the important thing was get out in open beta so we can start releasing as we finish. Things we needed to get to a critical mass. That's now, but from now on, it'll be coming. Things will be coming online as they finish. That we're not waiting and doing a yearly release or anything like that. I think it was really important to get out with a version of Verse so everybody can get familiar with the language and sort of follow along and gain proficiency as we're building the language, we're building the API. That's one. The second thing is like we needed to prove to ourselves you can make meaningfully different experiences, like not just artistically, but also like actually feeling different. And the stuff we did on stage was aimed at asking the special projects team inside Epic to say, just go at it, like just hit it with everything you got. This is a team that came from the movie industry and like finished the Matrix demo. They know how to stretch UE to the very, very limits. When they took UEFN, it wasn't ready for them at all, but it became ready as they sort of worked through their issues, because their expectations is movie quality, right? And the demo yesterday, like the giant robot thing that we finish on, is, I would say that's the absolute limit of what it can do right now. But it also is pretty, like, I have to pinch myself every time that this is 400 megs, 1 minute download inside Fortnite. That it's kind of nutty, and that's possible. But that's why you have all the power of Epic sort of coming to help, like, make everything like possible in Fortnite. We couldn't do that before with in-game tools. We could just make Fortnite and remakes. Now we can say everything we do, like metahumans, like what is the path for metahumans to come into Fortnite? That is like my biggest passion right now, is connecting those dots with Vlad that was on stage yesterday, with Jeremiah on the UE team that's making the new animation control and AI controller. These two things have to see each other. They have to work, and then metahumans will be in Fortnite. We're like this close.
Real quick follow-up question. You guys talk about the download time and how you want it to be seamless. Could there ever be a world where players, like new players who don't have Fortnite installed, can access a creative experience like that by just downloading the necessary requirements for that specific creative experience? Because I'm thinking, like, if someone is a Roblox player or Minecraft player and they're not on Fortnite, but then they hear about this cool new horror map that just came out on Fortnite, would they have to go then download the entire game and then go access it? Or do you guys envision a world where you can just go get that game, that experience by itself, and have a quicker download and
It's an
start
awesome
playing?
point. No, it's an awesome point. We are in the middle of slimming down the base install of Fortnite to be the bare minimum, and Battle Royale being a downloadable, right? Like that's how it has to work. That means that slim client plus your horror map is all you would need to download. We think that's pivotal. Like for wider adoption, is that you don't come with a payload of 5 years of content, which is what Battle Royale comes with.
Awesome. Lachlan?
Yeah, sweet as. Bit of a quick one, and kind of just want to hear, I suppose, reasoning, thoughts, philosophy on it. Discovery, obviously, will be the pushing algorithm for Fortnite users to find maps going forward. Do we think that there would ever be a discovery that shows player counts public to the users?
That's so funny.
Yeah.
With that, yes, is the
Yeah.
we
Oh,
were
nice.
just talking about that yesterday. No, I firmly believe that it's important that we start showing more about each island.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And CCU is that. The first trials of that will happen in 24/10. So we're less than a week away. So you
Nice.
like Lachlan, well said. No, we're thinking the same thing. Like what needs to happen in Discover? Discover needs to evolve to be about, like, what would you want to play, like you as the player, not what does Epic want you to play, right? And I think historically, when you grow up as a game, you get into a habit of, yeah, of course you want to play Battle Royale. Like, why else would you be there? But that's just not true anymore. Like, we want people to play what they want to play. And the Discover team is, for all intents and purposes, being separated from everybody else, from the rest of the company. And they will control the programming of Discover to maximize player time, not to maximize BR or anything, like just to try to experiment with this. We've spent the last 2 months to get much sharper on our moderation rules and in general, like the content in Discover, to try to weed out like sort of the clickbaity stuff or the XP, like all the stuff that's infringing in some way, shape, or form, that's sort of borderline, to get much sharper on, like, no, this is not permitted, like, period. Like, you will get yanked from the system if you don't follow the rules, because we don't want a clickbaity place. This shouldn't be the place where, like, if you yell the loudest, this is like, we click on your island, right? Like, we had the rules for a reason. So that was step one. Step two was, if you look at Discover today, it's very different than it was 6 months ago. That the top row is not necessarily like just what we are programming. It's much more about what you played before, or recommendations, or particular new genres, or whatever it is. The team has full agency now to just give people what it is they want to play, not just first party content.
Yeah, no, that's very exciting. I'm personally very interested to see just how these other experiences compare in like player counts and see what people are playing, more or less, even just as like build teams. I think that's very valuable.
Fundamentally, we need to give people more tools to find the content they want. And part of that is like, do people like this island? Part of it is there a lot of people there that are already playing, or are my friends playing there, or like people that play this, play that, or like there's a lot of tools that are not creepy and that are not like looking into your dark soul to give you content that you maybe want, but that just is common sense. Like, like this, you would be interested in this thing because you have said clearly that you want to look at 2v2 box fights. You should be able to find that like easily, right?
I think I think you almost said it there, so it'd be interesting to see what you say to this. It feels like you've got discovery, which is a bit of you guys putting things forwards, and also a bit of like the algorithm putting things forwards. But outside of that discovery page, you need to know a map code to go and discover that experience. And it feels like something like a search functionality where if you really enjoy a team and know a team are making quality maps, you can search for them as a team and find their experiences in a grouped format. Or if you're watching a TikTok or you're watching a YouTube video, rather than writing down a 12-digit code, you can just see the name of the map and be like, oh, I really want to play, I don't know, Atlantis Zombies, and you search for it and you get it. Is that something that you think could be powerful in discovery, and something that you guys would be interested in adding as well? 'Cause it gives the power of search back to the players, if that makes sense, and puts less strain on just discovery giving them the right thing, if that makes sense.
It's kind of sadness that we don't have a search. We're supposed to have a search. We're working on it.
But a lot of players don't have a keyboard on the console they play on primarily. But there are definitely solutions for that. But we're putting a lot of thought into how to restructure the whole Fortnite ecosystem to put island creators and islands first, right? Fortnite.com's top level domain now, Fortnite.com/creator name. That's the creator's page. That's not Epic's content. You're not like 3 levels down this hierarchy of pages. Like, it's the creator at the front and center, just like Twitter.com/Tim Sweeney Epic. It's my presence. Putting the creators first and putting the islands at the top is a critical part of it. Because another major way that people are going to discover content is outside of Fortnite. They're going to TikTok or Twitter or YouTube or something else, and there's a clickable link, and we want that link to take them to a place which is immediately actionable. If they're on a device they play Fortnite on, they can just go and play it right there. They play Fortnite on their console, but they're doing this browsing on their mobile device, and they should be able to click one button and then get into it on their console. Like, really make it really incredibly easy to get into experiences and to maintain your preferences.
Yeah, nice. I like that.
Our creator pages were supposed to go live yesterday, but we had a last-minute issue with that you couldn't curate what islands that was showing per creator, and we needed that. But there will be, in short order, every creator will have a page on web and in the game that they can customize the background on. They can customize what islands they want to show.
Nice.
And you can follow those creators.
Oh wow, that's really cool.
Yeah.
Does that follow apply in game? Is there a UI for that in?
Yeah, also in the game. Yeah. So web and in game, and it's mirrored. Discovery is mirrored on web and in game too.
Awesome.
So to Tim's point,
That's really
right now
cool.
we can, if you're signed in, we can put it on your not playlist. Is it
Yeah,
playlist?
yeah.
It gets put on the playlist right now. Ultimately, we wanted to just deep link in. If you have it installed on a platform, it'll just route it your way all the way in. Or if you're in a client, like if you're sitting in on your PlayStation, if you're browsing on your phone and you're finding what you want, it automatically updates in the playlist and just takes you to that. So I think we're trying to break down all the barriers that says you have to come through our lobby, select discover, find your material, or type in your island code, and then you can find your island. To instead say no, like from the get-go when you enter, we know what you want, and we're gonna allow you to theme the whole experience coming all the way in, up into and including the lobby at some point.
Oh, that's
Like
really cool.
we don't consider the lobby to be ours. Like it shouldn't be. It just is right now.
I like that. Sounds like a lot more power back to the players. That's really exciting.
Yeah, that's the operating goal. Like everybody has been sent. Every team has been given the same mission: is find a way that no matter who is on the ecosystem feels like they can give their players like the way, like they can get them to see that creator in their light, similar to how we would do it at Epic. Like when we make the lobby, that's how we want to be seen. That doesn't mean that when people come and see you and they follow you, like they might want to see it in a different way. Like that should be entirely up to you to set that up.
Lachlan, do you have any questions following up on my next question is a little bit off topic for what we were talking about. So if you had any follow up.
I'm done there. I've got another off topic one, but you go first.
So I'm a huge fan of Fortnite Battle Royale, obviously. And my like dream scenario is to create like a Battle Royale experience and try to create something, that is on the same level or if not is more fun than Fortnite. After playing the game for a long time, that is like a big goal with UEFN and being able to like maybe push out live events on this like island that I create, like a Kraken event, or being able to like have features where you can play solo, duo, trio squads. Like creating my own like miniature version of the Fortnite experience is something that I really want to be able to tackle. But it kind of ties back to what we were saying earlier. We've seen some things kind of get limited by the memory available right now. And obviously that's something that both creators and Epic will tackle over time. But do you see a world where a battle royale spawns in the Fortnite universe and is able to like stand on its two legs and kind of exist as like a competitive battle royale?
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. And the barriers to that are technical. Right now, there's this big problem that Fortnite Battle Royale is this giant pile of C++ code we wrote that needs to be separated and picked apart and separately downloadable and everything else. And as we work on all of that, and especially the content streaming features, so you can get into a big island without downloading 20 megabytes of data. These features will be available, and all of the user content will reduce the amount of data. That greatly reduce the installation size of the experience. Maybe even to the point where like you can get immediately into anything because there isn't a download required because we can just stream content in as you're going around. Some of these, I think there's a lot of features in the works. Some of these, aren't even coming in the next year. That would be needed to build a game of that scale, a many square kilometer map that's comparable to this. You're also going to find for building a game, if you want weapons that work differently, that have more, like Call of Duty style shooting model or other substantial differences, then you need a whole lot of new programming interfaces that we haven't built yet and are just trying to think about. You need programming interfaces for managing individual weapons. You need programming interfaces for tying into the Fortnite weapon system, for tying that to the HUD. There's a whole lot of pieces of like detailed gameplay mechanics that have not yet been exposed to Verse and that we're working on tackling piece by piece. And so as these pieces come online, you'll find more and more genres of games are able to be filled out. And also, even if you're building a game in the Battle Royale genre itself, more and more things that are just kind of hard-coded into the Fortnite weapons that we provided will become available to creators to customize and have full programmatic control over. But there's just a lot of work to do as we do that. And simultaneous with this, Epic is we use the term dogfooding. We're using these systems ourselves as we're building them for creators and torture testing them that way. But we see ourselves at the very beginning of a 2 or 3 year process for rewriting all of the gameplay logic of Battle Royale, which is right now a big C++ code, right? Rewriting that in Verse. And as we do that, we're going to be using ourselves, so all of these interfaces that we're building for creators, and these things will come in over time. But it's a big open heart surgery process. We're transforming all of Fortnite from this big project Epic made into an ecosystem that anybody can customize however they want. And what we have here with UEFN launch right now is just the first parts of that, the things we were able to do over the past 2 or 3 years and there's a lot more coming, and a lot more, and it's just taking hundreds of folks at Epic, literally, to build all these systems out.
We did right before we launched, we did the last all hands at the UEFN team and the Verse team to kind of give a preview of everybody and say thank you for everybody for, like, as we're going into cert on all the different consoles, and there was a lull. We had over 800 people attend the all hands. Like that's a stunning amount. The core UEFN team is about 150 people, but it ringed out into all of Epic really, like in the last, like in particular last 3 months, but the last like 12 months have been like escalating like deeper and deeper into Epic, because there's not a thing that didn't need to get reinvented, from how, I don't know, like the sequencer team all of a sudden needed to care about UEFN in a particular way, because Fortnite is different than just doing it in UE. And the moderation team needed to, or customer service, or the docs and learning team, or like it just cascaded out. But that's what it takes. Like shipping a new like creator platform like comprehensively is an undertaking you need the size of Epic to really do now. Like to try to do that, as Tim said, open heart surgery while you're operating a game with millions and millions of players every day. Like it's one hell of a it's one hell of an undertaking. I think that our happiest moment yesterday was we didn't take down BR as we shipped UEFN. Like that's a very real possibility. These things are intertwined in a way that is not easy to untangle, and we're gonna spend the next couple of years just untangling these things to get back to a place where it really feels like a slim client with whatever you want to lay on top of it.
Awesome.
Yeah. No, I mean, just jumping on the back of that, like in relation to Battle Royales being made, what was kind of your guys' response to seeing the Chapter 1 map? That was a big moment this week on Twitter with the launch of UEFN. How did you guys feel about like the Chapter 1 map being remade by creators?
Oh, yeah. Well, it's complicated, like, because that's our map, right?
Yeah.
We gotta feel personal about it, right? So we've been thinking about all that quite a lot. Like that the rule can't be that you like just rebuild Epic's content as your own and make the money from it, right? And so we've been thinking about how we wanted to approach that and a bunch of other things. I mean, in general, the rule is you can't use somebody else's original work. And that's the default. Like you can't just go build Call of Duty maps in Fortnite because they're owned by Activision, and so by default you couldn't do that with Epic stuff. So we've been like digging into how can we support the community's aspiration there without creating a precedent that like just totally breaks down in the future. And so I think what we're selling in there is like being cool with people remaking the Chapter 1 map specifically, not necessarily all the other maps, and definitely not crossovers where we work with partners, and that's there are properties involved in that. But saying that content can't be monetized, right? Because if it's like Epic building something and then you rebuild it and you make the money from it, like that's a weird business model. And so we're sorting that out for that content, and also thinking about like, well, about all these other Epic games we've made in the past. Can you make an Unreal Tournament map? How does monetization work there? So we're thinking all of that through. But like, we love to see this Chapter 1 map thing, and we're like trying to make it work in a non-commercial way right now.
I think the opportunity is to make IP, like for everybody to make their brand, like for you and every other creator, like to make things you own, right? And I think the sort of the fan in us wants to rebuild things we've done before. Like rebuilding Zelda seems like an obvious thing to do, but it also is Nintendo's. and in order for us to build like an ecosystem that is forward looking, that's sustainable, that partners frankly want to participate in, like we have to observe copyright laws on maps. That's just a basic premise here. I think the success that people see inside Fortnite are when they make something original, not when they make our stuff anyways. Like the long-term success is not making what we make because we are bound to remake it again. Because that's kind of like this business is cyclical, right? Like the maps we've made, we pull from them all the time, to make new things, to pull on nostalgia strings, to reinvigorate like a particular community. Like they're very important things to us that we've invested a tremendous amount of time and energy into building the lore around them. But the balance is we're also giving you a lot of the Fortnite assets that you can build with. Like if we give you Tilted, like what can you do with Tilted? Well, you can do anything you want to with the assets that's given, but you can't recreate the totality of the experience and say, this is my map. That's essentially the line we're trying to draw here.
I really like that, personally speaking. I think there's so many possibilities with UEFN and so many creative ways to approach it that kind of putting the focus on creating something new should always be like, I mean, obviously copyright is copyright. We're all content creators. We don't want people copying our videos and uploading them. So it's the same scenario. No, that's a great question. Ali, do you have anything to follow up?
I don't want to go too far away from UEFN, but obviously Battle Royale is still, as you guys said, 60% of the player base. It is still the thing that people come in, the Battle Pass, the collaborations. Do you guys have an end goal with Battle Royale, or do you see that existing forever with new maps and chapters coming out forever? Or do you try not to look that far ahead because things change so often? I just wondered if you were able to talk on that at all.
Well, the Battle Royale team doesn't tell us these things, right? They keep that to themselves, and we're not allowed to know. It's a magical world. It's constantly evolving, and it kind of transcends characterization, right? Things have happened in Battle Royale that aren't that Battle Royale-ish, but they're part of the game, and I think it's a continual evolution, and we just love what the team's done.
It's fascinating in like inside Epic, if you'd asked that question of the Battle Royale team, I think it would just laugh, like going, like, what? Why would there be an end to this? Like, it's like saying, like, when is Disneyland shutting down? Like, like because they see it's a sandbox, like the sandbox that has infinite amount of toys, and they get to make the toys. Like, that's a pretty enviable position to be in. And we try to allow like every part of Epic to evolve on its own like that, like understand like why they're successful, understand their own brand and their IP, but like single-handedly take charge of the future of that part of the business, similar to what I work on the creator side, and Alan and that team over on the Battle Royale team, they are empowered to go and make this the best Battle Royale they can humanly be. That's also why the creator economy makes sense, because that team needs to be focused on themselves. They don't need to think about creators or anything. They should just be focused on making the best like Battle Royale they can humanly make, and let the best island win. Like that's always been like a mantra.
I want to add a little bit of historical perspective there, because the whole evolution of 3D games, I mean, for a lot of us, it began for real with Doom and Deathmatch, right? That was the original gameplay mode that made it incredibly fun. But in those days, Battle Royale was not possible. You could not get that many people into a map. You couldn't do a big outdoor map. A lot of the things that are possible today just weren't possible then. Every time the technology grows by leaps and bounds, you find new genres of games that could not have been built before are now being built and are the coolest thing. And I met Brendan Green, Player Unknown, a couple of days ago here at the Game Developers Conference, and we were chatting, and just it's so impressive. So clear that what he had defined, by taking the Battle Royale movie from 1999, the Japanese movie, and then bring it into a game type through a series of different partnerships and mods. Leading up to Player Unknown Battlegrounds, which inspired Fortnite and some Call of Duty work and other things. Battle Royale is the greatest genre. It's the greatest game type that's ever been invented yet for the shooter genre, but I don't think it's the last. And let's ask what becomes possible when computers are another 10 or 100 times faster, and the servers and the back-end technology we're building are all that more powerful. I think we'll see entirely new types of things invented that are even better than that.
I think we'll see on UEFN. I think we'll see some new genre spawn in.
Tim and I met each other in 1997 when we were both working on separate engines, and I think there's not, like, none of us could have imagined like this moment other than we were both singularly focused on making creators successful. Like, this is like a lifelong endeavor like for both of us, like and in different directions, and now together. And I think that's that moment when you know that you don't know what comes next because you've just handed over the technology to people that don't know the limits. They're just gonna go for it. I think it's like one of the most exhilarating things that you can do, and that's what it feels like with UEFN is like you just got the key like to one of the most powerful engines in the world. Like that's pretty phenomenal.
Yeah, super exciting. Super exciting.
Any more questions from you guys?
You can jump in with one, Cypher, if you've got any.
Yeah, so we talked about it earlier. Obviously, the creator economy monetization right now needs to be focused on engagement because we need to put out a good product and good game modes. And I know Lachlan asked this earlier, but even though it's not in the immediate future, do you guys still envision a world where creators are able to have their own, cosmetic upgrades and like V-Buck purchases on their own apps or experiences?
Well, the philosophy is that having a great experience for players has to come first. And I think there are scenarios there where direct purchasing could make sense. We considered the case of a concert. So far, Epic's worked with amazing musicians to produce a few concerts, but wouldn't it be awesome if an indie music group could make their own concert, if they could make money from it, in lots of different ways? And, we want to enable that sort of thing. And that might lead to direct purchasing capabilities that go beyond just cosmetics with the revenue sharing model. But what we don't want to do is create a race to the bottom where the greediest and worst games win. And what we've seen, like just looking at mobile app stores, for example, because Apple and Google have built massive ad businesses around App Store advertising. That you search for before Fortnite had been kicked off the iOS App Store, you'd search for Fortnite and you'd find PUBG because as the number one result because they bought the ad. And when you search for PUBG, you found Fortnite because, and it pissed me off, but it turned out the Fortnite team had bought the ad and we were paying, which I don't think companies should do, but yet Epic was doing, and our competitor were doing it, and because they created this system, and they say don't hate the player, hate the game, but like you should actually hate the idiots who built that game because that game and we don't want to create a race to the bottom. In mobile gaming right now, the top earning games are mostly really greedy, pay to win games full of loot boxes.
Yep.
And that's the case for a reason. It's because Apple and Google built their app store business models around a model where like the way to get users into your game is to spend as much money as you possibly can on advertising. And the games that make the most money per user are able to spend the most money on ads. And that means they're able to bid the most money on each ad for each game. And so all of the winners of all of the ad options are the worst games. And that way players are just constantly, force-fed, a menu of games with really bad commercial practices. And so, you get into this vicious cycle where they make all the money. So everybody invests in building more of those games, multiply that by every developer thinking about what kind of game should I build? And, they find that, you can't just build a quality, fun, paid game anymore on iOS. You can still do that on Steam. You can still do it on the Epic Games Store. You can still do it on console, but you can't do it on mobile because nobody will pay for it because the game, the system they built failed. And, we want to very viscerally not let that happen here. And so even as we work on expanding the economy and having more ways of spending, we just really are cognizant of not letting it turn into that thing.
I remember you mentioning in a tweet how like your stance against pay to win is like super strong. So like you probably never see like pay to win find its way into like the Unreal market.
Well, so we see Fortnite as this, we're operating this ecosystem, and like we feel like we don't want to create that kind of environment here. On the other hand, you can download Unreal Engine and build a standalone game and make it as bad as you want. Our rules don't say you can't make bad games, and so you're free to do that. Right? So different parts of the Epic products and services we offer actually have come to rather different positions about this, and I think it's right. Microsoft Word shouldn't tell you what kinds of stories you're allowed to write in the word processor. But if a company's going to host your content, they will have some guidelines on what's okay in the ecosystem where they're hosting the stuff. And so we take Fortnite really personally and want to be awesome there. And having more economic options for creators, it'll be valuable, but it can't just be like every game stops supporting shared outfits because every game wants to sell you their own set of outfits that don't work anywhere else, because players hate that. You're already seeing that evolving here and there into other games, and we just don't want to be there. PUBG.
I'd like to follow on a little bit. Tim, I know you're super passionate about the mobile space, and obviously you went head to head with Apple, and that's what happened with Fortnite ending up coming off the App Store. And I totally agree with your stance personally. But in terms of actually players coming to Fortnite, I'm sure you guys felt the hit of it not being available on the App Store. Are you guys still proactively looking to get as many people onto Fortnite as easily as possible through both mobile and tablet devices? I know people within the Roblox space, I don't want to compare Fortnite too much to Roblox, but I see their back-end data, and so many people play through their mobile and tablet devices. And it feels like if we can bring that back as easily as possible to the masses, that will just bring a load more players to Fortnite that will then see the UEFN experiences. So I just wanted to know if you had anything to share on the sort of mobile and tablet space for Fortnite and moving forwards.
Yeah, well, both Apple and Google kicked Fortnite out. Right? They're trying to kill our company in order that we won't be able to fight them robustly in the future as we're fighting them now. That's their business strategy, and you have a whole lot of regulators and a number of court cases all fighting to stop that. But we need to win this fight. Like, if Epic dropped this fight and surrendered, the App Stores taking 30% off the top would make way more money from or way more profit from anybody's game than the developers themselves make. Even with the revenue sharing we're doing, you're going to find as a developer, you actually have a lot of costs. You have to pay, contractors, you have to pay employees, you have to pay for hardware, you have to pay for advertising. Very few companies have a 40% profit margin. And so it just like stinks that they're still trying to maintain this business model where they make more money from everybody's games than the game makers themselves make. And so we have to stop that, right? And that, like, we need to return the industry to its roots. The Apple of Steve Wozniak was an awesome company. They give you a computer, you could install anything you wanted on it. You could sell your own software. You could make your own software. They even gave you the diagrams of the circuit boards in the computer, so you could make your own peripherals for it if you were a hardware guy. And that spirit doesn't need to be dead here. So the way back to mobile is to win the Project Liberty, right? And we've made awesome strides there. There's awesome new European legislation that will change the practices in Europe. So Europe will be opened up. And there's US legislation being discussed. It hasn't been passed yet. There's antitrust cases that could make a really substantial change to it. But in the meantime, it does suck that Apple and Google are trying to crush Fortnite. This is exactly what antitrust law is supposed to protect against, and it's not. It's so far 3 years into Project Liberty, hasn't achieved any success at all. But the fight goes on, and this is a struggle the industry is going through. We look forward to the future where Fortnite creators can make a lot more money from their work because these battles have been won, and that'll be a good time for everybody. And we mustn't lose sight of it. So in the meantime, right now we're only on Android and only through direct download. And since Google has created such an intentionally bad operating system, it's really hard to install Fortnite on Android. And we're fighting against all of that. But it limits the player base. But the Fortnite player base just compare the numbers to Roblox. Fortnite players way more engaged. Fortnite players, spend more. Fortnite players, we think, at least anecdotally, are significantly older than Roblox players. Most of them are, not kids, and or not young kids at the very least. And it's an audience that you can really build a business around now. And upon victory in Project Liberty, the whole situation will change for everybody, and it'll be a good time. But we can't let that go. We've got to continue to fight for these freedoms of developers. Otherwise, we're all just going to end up making a bunch of awesome games, and a bunch of monopolies are going to take all the money from it. Sorry for the rant.
No. Good luck. Good luck.
No, I respect it.
Yeah, 100%. We're on your side for sure.
No, I think being principled is important in these things, and we've taken a very principled stand on how we approach platforms. That in general has earned us a lot of trust with the partners we have, the platforms we operate on. We have excellent relations everywhere, and UEFN is like that's a big step for every one of the platforms we're on. Like, we are connecting a PC editor with custom content to an end user console. Like, that's not like, we have to have excellent trust and excellent systems in place in order to do that. So we don't take that lightly. That we're enabling creators to do incredible things, but we're doing it with the caution needed for everybody to feel like we're not jeopardizing player safety or motivation, and all the things that we have to adhere to.
2023,
and I think you can compare that to the principal stance on Apple and Google, that to be there, you have to be there under the right pretense. You have to be able to have the right access to the platform, or you really can't give players a good experience. It's just not possible. So that's the unfortunate truth. That we are this big without mobile is incredible. Like 80+% of Roblox is on mobile. So compare that to whatever 70+ million that we have right now on console plus PC. Like, we feel very fortunate of being this successful without what everybody would say you need mobile. Well, we don't. We want it. We don't need it. Yeah.
But picture a few years out. The laws changed, the regulations changed, the courts have ruled on these topics. Back on mobile, have Battle Royale and a dozen other genres all filled out. New genres have been invented by the Fortnite creator community. That's a world where there could be a quarter billion or 500 million users, and it could grow to 1 billion or several billion users over the course of this decade. There are more than 3.5 billion smartphones in the world. Like, this is it. I mean, this is happening for real now, and it's a very exciting time.
Yeah, for sure. Speaking of like things happening, is there any features that are not yet here at UEFN that you guys are excited about that you're allowed to talk about? Like, what excites you?
We can talk about anything we want to.
Yeah, all right.
I don't think we have any secrets.
Yeah, we don't have any secrets. There's a lot of, you can just look at the feature set of Unreal Engine 5 and compare it to the feature set of UEFN, and there's a bunch of things missing. A lot of the things are missing because there's not a straightforward way to deploy massive amounts of content, or there's more work needed to do to ensure that there's robust security and that somebody can't mess with some files and cause trouble. And some of the things are because we're trying to move to a different or better development model than we've kind of built up. Unreal Engine 5 dates back to code I wrote back in 1995. And Unreal Engine 1, there's a lot of history in it. And the development of this thing is a constant process of building new features and cleaning up old stuff, replacing old stuff and building new stuff. And at any time, there's a formidable amount of cruft in this code base, and a lot of the barriers to expanding more is just that there's this amazing blueprint system, a bunch of different systems where you're wired together graphs of systems visually, and we're in the process of figuring out how to rebuild that on the foundation of Verse that we're building now, so that you have the best of both worlds. What's in vanilla Unreal Engine 5 and what's in UEFN now.
UE is built with like everything is high voltage electricity. Like you touch any wire and you explode. Like that's kind of what it's like. There's no safety net. When you
Yeah.
do your fence job is to make that safe in a way that when you deploy on people's consoles functionally, that no there's no payload that follows that was unintended or malicious. Like that's no small feat. That's kind of what Tim is referring to is the stakes are higher, right? When you operate an engine and you're a professional developer and you just have to ship it and it has to work once and then everything's fine. That's very different than what we're trying to do with UEFN. On the very direct question you asked, what are we working on that is close? Theming of the UI is very close. So using images for deeply theming UI elements in general through Verse is very close. The creature module is very close. That's the essentially making NPCs, like custom NPCs. We're using control rig. That's what we showed in the demo with the dragon, is the like a very like an easy way to sort of abstract how you control rigged characters. This will be used for any humanoid or creature, like in general, like to make NPCs or enemies or whatever you want to do, ambient creatures. And the AI module is very close. We're actually quite far along with diversification of of some of the AI elements. Like it won't be the deepest that you have, but it will be goal-oriented AI and it will be live in the not too distant future. Like at some point we thought it was going to come for the release, but it's a little further out right now. But I think those are the highlights for me of the things I think are transformative are those that you can start repopulating your world with the things you make, that you animate, that you download. Yeah.
That's awesome. It's incredible.
Guys, I know we've been talking for an hour, but I want to squeeze one question in, super short, super lighthearted. Sax, Tim, if you had to pick one Fortnite outfit that you would say is your favorite, do you have one? Do you have an outfit you always use? Do you have one that you love? Or do you use whichever one you feel on the day?
I use a Moon Knight.
Ooh.
Mainly because it hasn't been on sale for a while and my son didn't get it.
You like to flex. You like to flex.
It annoys him every time I wear it. I really like the Moon Knight.
Nice.
Yeah, I have an outfit that perfectly matches with the skill and seriousness of me as a Fortnite player. I'm a jelly main.
Nice.
Let's go.
Nice. I like that. I like that.
I feel bad when I'm wearing a military outfit and kind of hiding in the bushes and fighting somebody. I'm the CEO of Epic. Should I really be doing this? But a giant jellyfish and glowing purple, it doesn't feel so bad.
Love that. Thank you, guys.
Well, we've been asking you guys questions for an hour. Do you guys have any questions for us before we wrap up? Anything that you're curious about?
Yeah, I have. Do you?
Oh yeah, please.
Okay. Yeah, I think it would be excellent to know when you watched the unveiling that we did yesterday, like what was the thing that I'm going to go negative here. What was the thing you wished we would have said? Like what was the thing you didn't hear that you were hoping that we were going to say?
Mine would have been any details on like first person, where that's at. Like that was kind of something I was looking at, trying to figure out if that was on the timeline of soon. Because obviously there was that kind of interesting method of obtaining it quite recently in game that was obviously went very viral as it was
But the helicopter method, yeah,
a method that existed that they got it. That was probably mine. You guys?
Let's answer it first. Let's just do it quickly. We are experimenting internally with how we would want to do that, in a systemic way. It turns out that the camera needs to be refactored with Verse, and is one of the first candidates we have for some of the stuff we're working on for the new object model. But we're working on camera stuff this year. It's not something we're not looking at. We're just not ready for it yet. Hopefully, in the not too distant future, it'll be an option for people to choose. Awesome. On the UEFN side, I should be very specific. I'm not talking about Battle Royale. I'm talking about on the UEFN side as a play mode.
Yeah. I'd like to know what you think happens to Fortnite streaming. because almost all streaming is about battle royale with some creative and some save the world, but it become, as more genres come online and they're like really popular games of different types, does it become much more specialized?
I think so. I think you start to see really hardcore communities built up potentially around these experiences in game. And obviously us three on this call have built our audiences around the battle royale genre, but Cypher mentioned building out his own creative experience where he can bring his fans along with him. I think smaller creators will have a chance to latch on to really new and exciting experiences and be the forefront of like the mouthpiece and the person to represent that experience and carve out where those experiences go. So I think specialization will definitely take a role, and hopefully we see the chance for creators that maybe can't crack into the battle royale content sphere because there's already a lot of big creators in that space, can potentially crack into a horror genre, or like something that's new and exciting and up and coming that UEFN offers that wasn't available before. That's what I think will end up happening.
Yeah, I think it's a little bit like it can start now, but I think once we start getting persistence on the islands, you can start really building stories with different people, creators, streamers, having your own like kind of living world is where a lot of the storytelling is nowadays with YouTube and Twitch streaming. So once that happens, I see it, really repopulating like the live stream audience, and like new groups of people will come in and start kind of creating their own story, whether it's like in a role play format or like a Minecraft server format, but in the Fortnite space.
Yes, that's it. I should have said, I didn't. The persistence is like the highest on the list. That sits at a price 0. So does XP. Like we had to turn both services off for UEFN because of like some security implications that comes from when you can save permanence like into like a data, like a blob on your profile. Essentially, we had like all sorts of issues with that. So we are detangling that, and then it's coming back online again like shortly.
Awesome.
So that should be the same. Yeah.
Awesome. Nice.
Well, if there's not any more questions,
I've got one more cringe one, but I'm going to throw it out there. All right.
Okay,
I just got to do it. I'm doing it. I don't care. Okay.
Yeah.
So if there's one question that me, Lachlan, and Cypher get asked the most whenever anyone meets us, and I'm talking on behalf of them, but I'm sure it's true, it is, will you add me on Fortnite? So I'm going to flip that question. Sax and Tim, would you ever add us on Fortnite? And you never know. Maybe we'd play Fortnite together at some point in the future. Or maybe you don't have enough time to play Fortnite in your spare time with us. But I thought I'd throw it out there just in case.
Add you as a friend on Fortnite? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, because you're already in Fortnite.
I'm
pretty sure you have an outfit.
Yeah.
Yes, like absolutely. Yes.
Love that.
I play a lot.
That's awesome. That's really cool to know.
Yeah.
That's really cool to know.
The truth is, a lot of the leadership team plays a lot.
That's
like,
awesome.
There's judgment if you don't reach like a reasonable level through a season, no matter how busy we are. So.
I love that.
I've tried to add a lot of people as a friend, but nobody knows who I am in Fortnite. I have 6 people in the real world who know my name.
Mystery.
Because it's not an Epic identified name. I have a personal account I always play on, and nobody knows. So like when you're playing with a random person, if they're goofy and they're running around as Jelly and not very good, it might be me.
If I ever see a Jelly now, I'm gonna think this could be Tim. No, I appreciate that, guys. Thank you so much for your time. I hope you enjoyed the interview. On screen here, you can see what the UEFN maps look like and how incredible Fortnite is gonna become. So click on screen to go and watch that. I'll see you over there.